My coffee cup was warm in my hand. I stood by the kitchen window, watching raindrops trace their paths down the glass. It was mid-May, but the sky carried the heaviness of autumn. From the living room, I could hear the faint sound of my son's favorite cartoon playing, just background noise now, humming softly like a lullaby. Everything was as it should be. Ordinary, peaceful, safe, until that one notification appeared. My phone buzzed gently. I glanced at the screen. A message from Jason Heller. I narrowed my eyes. A name I hadn't seen in years. A ghost from a distant town, a different life. I opened the message. I saw Emily. She's not doing well. I don't know. Maybe you'd want to know. Suddenly I couldn't breathe. Time just stopped. The cartoon, the rain, it all vanished into silence. Only the echo of my heartbeat remained. Emily. Just seeing her name sent a strange ache through me. Was it pain, longing, or maybe the distant footsteps of a story that never truly ended? I don't know. But if her name could still hit me this hard, maybe she was never really gone. The past, something I had buried with my own hands, was suddenly reaching back, touching me with cold fingers through the surface. I looked up at the family photo on the wall. My wife, my son, me. Everything looked complete. But inside, there was a space, a silence, and somehow just her name had pierced right through it. I closed my eyes. In the corner of my mind, the dusty roads of a long-forgotten town came alive again. Elk Ridge, and those summer nights. How did it all begin? I don't know how much I can remember. But I'll try, because some stories don't end. They just get buried, deeper. It was the most unforgettable summer of my life. And I saw her for the first time, at Jason's birthday party in his backyard. Elk Ridge was a small town near the Montana border, population just under 5,000. Life moved slowly there. People knew each other, and gossip traveled faster than the wind between neighbors' fences. Everyone had a past, but no one really had a secret. That summer, Jason turned 17, and his mom threw a little get-together in the backyard. The smell of burgers on the grill filled the air. An old radio played country tunes in the background. Kids were running around with cake on plastic plates. The breeze was soft, the air smelled like summer, and the sky was painted in shades of pink. Everything that day felt a little more beautiful than usual. I was sitting in a plastic lawn chair sipping soda, joking around with a few of Jason's friends, when someone tapped me on the shoulder. "Hey, Liam," Jason said. "There's someone I want you to meet." I turned, and then I saw her, Emily. Dark brown hair resting gently on her shoulders, hands folded nervously in front of her. Her eyes met mine, shy but bold. She wore a simple navy dress. Nothing flashy, nothing loud. And yet, there was something about her, like I was flipping a page in a book, and that page held the most important sentence of my entire life. "Hi," she said. I smiled. "Hey." That night we talked for hours. Jason had quietly slipped away, leaving us alone. We laid back on the grass and watched the stars. We talked about horoscopes, books, songs we loved. Her voice was like a melody drifting through the night. I listened without thinking, like she didn't even need to speak for me to feel her. Just her being next to me was enough. Then she went quiet for a moment, turned to me and said, "Will you make a wish with me when the next shooting star appears?" I nodded. "If we wish at the same time, maybe it'll come true," she smiled. Or maybe it already is. The rest of that summer felt like a dream. Emily and I started meeting in secret. We walked the old railway tracks just outside town. We sat by the lake at night. We rode bikes after school, got caught in the rain, watched old movies from the back row of the tiny local theater, hands touching, hearts racing. It felt like no one was watching us. But Elk Ridge was a small town. Nothing stayed quiet for long, especially not a romance between the only daughter of a strict conservative family and a boy like me, known for one dumb fight years ago, but still labeled trouble. People talked. Of course they did. One day, Emily showed up in tears. My dad found out. Liam, it was bad. I'd never seen her so scared before. There was a childlike panic in her eyes. She wasn't afraid of losing me. She was afraid of what her family might do to her. He talked like he was going to lock me up. Said I wouldn't even be allowed to see you after school. They don't know you. They don't know who you really are. I held her hands. Let them stay blind. But I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. She rested her head on my shoulder. Don't let me go. I'll never forget the way she held me that day. It felt like we were carrying the weight of the whole town on our backs. Two kids doing everything they could just to stay together. Against everyone. And everything. And that's when we made a decision. We'd go to college together in a different city. We'd leave Elkridge behind. It wouldn't be our grave, it would be our birthplace. Life would begin somewhere else. But here's the thing. Life doesn't care about plans. And one night everything shattered. I'll never forget that summer evening. The night everything changed. Emily and I met at the old abandoned train station just outside town. It was our hiding place, a little universe where the world couldn't reach us. No noise, no rumors, no rules, but when I saw her that night, her eyes were red and puffy. My dad, he doesn't even want me stepping outside after school anymore, she whispered. He takes my phone. He pulls up a chair by the window just to watch me. I can't even breathe anymore. I sat beside her and held her hand. She was trembling. Did you talk to your mom? Tell her how you feel. She shook her head. My mom, she's like a quieter punishment. I don't know, Liam. It's like she's disappointed in me too. Everyone's looking, but no one's seeing. I looked into her eyes. The truth was sitting right there, in front of me. Living and breathing. Come on, I said. I took her hand and we started walking along the train tracks. The air was cool, the moon rising slowly above us. We walked in silence. That silence, it wasn't peaceful. It was the kind that comes before a storm. Just before we reached the path that led to Jason's family cabin, Emily stopped. My dad, he might be following me. Sometimes I think I see his headlights in the distance. Maybe it's just paranoia, but I don't know. I reassured her. I'm here. No matter what, I'm not leaving you alone. And then, headlights. Two yellow eyes approaching us in the dark. The sound of an engine roared louder as a car sped toward us. Emily's hand tightened in mine. We froze. The car skidded to a stop right in front of us. The door flew open. Emily's father. He stormed toward us with heavy steps. But there wasn't just anger in his eyes. There was shame. Years of bottled-up shame. Gossip, judgment, the pressure of keeping up the perfect daughter image. It had all carved itself into his face. Get your hands off my daughter, he growled through clenched teeth. Mr. Carter, I'm just... Before I could finish, a hard punch landed on my chest. I stumbled back, gasping. Emily screamed. Stop, Dad, please stop. A slap. Another punch. Pain exploded through my body. But I never raised my hands. I didn't fight back. All I wanted was to protect her. You think you belong in our lives, huh? Carter yelled. You're a nobody. A boy from a broken home with no future. You think you can drag my daughter down with you? Emily was sobbing. She stepped between us. Dad, that's enough. I love him. I'm with him because when I'm near him, I can breathe. Why does that scare you so much? Mr. Carter froze, then slowly shook his head. This boy is using you. This isn't love. It'll pass. One day you'll grow up, and you'll see. I looked at him one last time. There was no hatred in my eyes. Just one truth. I don't just love her. I believe in her. That night Emily had to go home. I held her hand one last time. No matter what, we won't give up. Promise me. Tears filled her eyes. I promise. But that promise, it would slowly turn into a silence lodged in our throats. A silence that would pierce the heart. The next day, my mom had found out everything. She sat me down and said, "Son, we live in a small town. Drawing this much attention can only hurt you." Emily's family, they're powerful people. "We don't want to see you get hurt." For the first time, I felt alone even in my own home. No one really knew what we were going through. But I loved Emily, and I was willing to fight for her. No matter what. Some nights, as we walked through the quiet streets of Elkridge, we'd whisper our escape plans to each other. Dreaming of going to the same college wasn't just about studying together. It was about building a life, a future that belonged to us. Every rule we broke, every tear we shed, every risk we took, it all felt worth it. And believe me, back then nothing else felt more real. Senior year was a battle. Emily worked secret jobs over the summer. I spent long nights after work studying for exams, my hands still smelling like grease and old books. We had one goal: Wellington University, North Carolina. To most people, it was just a school. To us, it was salvation. Emily's family tried to look modern enough to let her move out of town, while mine, though not supportive, didn't try to stop me anymore. Maybe they had swallowed the punch her father gave me, but something had changed. A distant, quiet resignation. I had made up my mind. When our acceptance letters arrived, Emily called me crying. "We got in, both of us." "Same place, Liam." "Oh my God, is this really happening?" "Yes," I said. "We're really leaving." I looked at the wall where we had drawn our escape plan a year earlier. Right between the scribbled arrows and lines, there was a date. September 2, 2016. It wasn't the day we left. It was the day we thought we were free. The day we arrived at Wellington, Emily looked like she was racing the wind. Her hair flowed behind her. Her eyes sparkled with that familiar fire. But somehow the light was different this time. The first few weeks were perfect. We met new people, explored the campus, spent hours studying together in the library. At night, we'd lie on the grass and talk about our future. But it didn't take long to notice. Emily had started seeing me as the boy she ran away with. Not her partner. Not anymore. She stopped looking me in the eyes like she used to. She kept texting someone and brushing it off. "Just a study group," she said, while she adjusted quickly to city life. I was still trying to shake off the dust of Elkridge. Soon our social circles drifted apart. Emily had become one of the popular ones, colorful, outgoing, the center of attention. I was proud of her, but deep down I was scared. One evening I wanted to surprise her. She wasn't in her dorm. I knocked, no answer. The door was slightly open. I walked in. The room was empty. On the desk, a note. "Went downtown with Samantha and the girls. Don't call. 3. That was the first time I truly felt like a burden. Maybe it wasn't her fault, but I was still carrying the weight of us. And she was slowly letting go. In the weeks that followed, the tension grew. When I said, "Let's spend some time together," she'd say, "I'm swamped with classes." When I asked, "Don't you miss me?" she snapped, "Please, you're suffocating me." And then one night at the cafe where we always met, she finally said it. "Liam, I think we need a break." The words caught in my throat. A break? Yeah, everything's crashing down on me. I ran away from my family, came here. And for the first time, my life feels like it's mine. Please, and try to understand, I just need some space. Some time, for me. And where do I fit in? In that time? She didn't answer. But I understood. Still, I didn't give up without a fight. The next week, I showed up to her class unannounced. In the middle of the crowd, I opened a small ring box. People turned to look. Emily was stunned. Maybe even angry. "Emily, we've dreamed of this day. We've made it through so much, and I don't want to lose you." She tried to hold back tears, but her face already held the answer. "Liam, this isn't love anymore. It's pressure." And right there in the middle of that crowd, I just sat down, smiling like nothing was wrong. But everything had shattered. Months passed. Emily never came back. I kept calling, texting, asking our mutual friends about her. But she was gone. Finally, before summer break, I sent one last message. Just give me 1 hour. If it's really over, I'll disappear. I promise. She agreed to meet. On the quiet bench behind the university, she sat down. Didn't look at me. Liam, I'll always love you. But I don't see myself in this story anymore. I nodded. Then this is the last night I ever speak to you. If you tell me to leave, I swear I'll never reach out again. Silence. She looked down, and then she whispered just one word. Go. And I did. I really did. Some goodbyes don't break you all at once. They eat away at you slowly. A little more every morning. A little less hope every night. When Emily said go that night, I really went. But a piece of my soul stayed behind on that bench. That summer I didn't go back to campus. The silence hit me harder than any scream ever could. So I returned home. To my family. Back to Elkridge. The town hadn't changed. But I had. When people asked, so, it's over between you and Emily? I'd just shrug. I never spoke of her again. Only at night, staring out the window, I'd whisper her name into the sky. Because some habits cling to your soul like prayers. For a whole year I heard nothing. Not a message. Not a rumor. I deleted her from social media. Tried to erase her number from memory. But her voice, it never really left. When I returned for senior year, I wasn't the same Liam. Quieter, more cautious. People still tried to get close. I even dated a few girls briefly. But nothing lasted. No one could ever replace the way Emily used to look at me. After graduation, I got a job offer in another city. Franklin, Tennessee. Small but vibrant. A good place to start over. And that's where I met Claire. She was calm, patient, understanding. Maybe she never made my heart race like Emily once did. But she never walked away either. We got married 2 years later. And a year after that, our son Noah was born. The moment I held him for the first time, I felt a love so deep. It drowned everything behind me. For the first time, I thought I had finally moved on. Life had settled. I was doing well at work, telling bedtime stories to my son, and sharing quiet smiles with Claire over dinner. Then one day I got a message from Jason, my childhood friend. I saw Emily today, it said. I don't know if you want to hear this, but things don't look so good. In that moment, I was pulled right back. To the bench. To the way she looked down when she said go. What happened, I asked. Her life had started with that wild rush of freedom. But somewhere along the way, she'd lost her direction. Her first real relationship ended in brutal betrayal. A guy she met at college moved with her to another city, then cheated on her. With her best friend. She dropped out of school, tried to return, but couldn't regain her footing. She struggled at work, crumbled under pressure where she was expected to shine. Her career never became what she hoped. One day she married suddenly, but the man she chose was a gambling addict. Over time, the violence at home grew worse. Debts piled up, and now she was raising a little girl, all alone. When I first heard it, a quiet ache settled deep inside me. A part of me felt real sorrow for her, truly. But another part of me, the silent part, felt peace, because I had once risked everything for her, and to her, I was just a burden. Now, life had answered for me. I had rebuilt my life. The woman who didn't want a future with me never found a future that lasted. Is that what they call divine justice? I don't know. Sometimes when you're alone with your conscience, you can be right without saying much at all. Noah was playing with his toys in his room. I watched him quietly, and in my heart I whispered, "Thank you, Emily, for leaving me. Because if you hadn't said go that day, I wouldn't be who I am today." Some doors never truly close. No matter how many years, marriages, or children come after, the past can suddenly appear right in the middle of the room with just a single glance. That day, Noah had gone on a school trip to the city library. I stopped by during lunch to pick him up. As I walked down the hallway, I heard laughter coming from the children's section. It was familiar, but maybe I was just imagining it. I walked toward the sound, and there she was, Emily, holding her daughter's hand, reading a book to her. Her face was tired but warm. Her eyes had dark circles, but her smile carried the quiet strength of motherhood. When she turned to her daughter and said, "Sweetheart, if you want, we can borrow this book too." That voice, it threw me back 10 years. Our eyes met. At first, she didn't recognize me, or maybe she didn't want to, but I saw it. The shadow in her eyes that never left for years. I stepped forward quietly. "Hi, Emily," I said. She smiled softly, a little surprised, and whispered, "Liam." There was a moment of silence. The children's noise around us couldn't reach the storm inside. Her little girl looked at me with curiosity. Emily leaned close to her ear and said, "Sweetheart, can you go play over there for a bit? I need to talk to someone I know." The little girl ran away, and then it was just the two of us. "It's been years," I said. "Yes," she replied. "You have a daughter." "Yes, Ava, she's 6. For the first time, she looked me straight in the eyes. And in that moment, I realized the Emily I left behind so many years ago was gone. The fine wrinkles on her face, the shyness in her gaze, the slow, heavy tone in her voice. Each sentence seemed to carry a deep regret. When I stayed silent, she couldn't help but ask, "Are you happy, Liam?" I thought for a moment, then answered honestly, "Yes, I am truly happy. Claire is a wonderful woman. Noah is too. Everything in my life is as it should be. Maybe some things are missing, but I am at peace." Emily looked away. "I'm glad to hear that." We were silent for a while. Then, trembling, she asked, "I did a lot of harm to you, didn't I?" "No," I said. "You just made a choice. You lived your life, and I lived mine." But my answer shook her more. "No, Liam." Her eyes filled with tears. "I thought about you for years. Every time things got bad, every time I felt alone, you were always on my mind. But most of all, I wished you happiness, because I never wanted anything bad for you." She wiped her tears. "I know I'm late, but still, I'm sorry, Liam." I said nothing, because sometimes words are too much. I looked into her eyes. Inside me was neither anger nor sorrow, just the quiet of a closed chapter. I pulled my hand from my pocket and nodded slowly. "I wish you peace, Emily," I said, "and a beautiful life for your daughter." Little Ava came back holding a book. Emily took her tiny hands in hers. She looked at me one last time. "Goodbye, Liam. Goodbye, Emily." And at that moment I understood. Some loves never truly end. They just run out of pages. When I left the library that day, the sky was a clear, deep blue. Noah was in the back seat happily telling me about his day. I just smiled. There was no hate left inside me for Emily, but that innocent boy who loved her was no longer me. Life gives everyone their answer someday.